Welcome! Today I'm going to show you how to make a working barometer using just a few things from around the house. A barometer is an important tool for meteorologists. It measures air pressure and helps us predict the weather. Essentially, it acts like a scale for the sky. So to get started, we need a few things. We need an open-topped jar or can. We need a straw, a balloon, a piece of paper, a rubber band, tape, and some scissors. All right, let's get started. So first, get your jar or can, make sure there's no top on it, and get your rubber band. What we want to do is cut the bottom off the rubber band and place it over the jar, kind of like a swim cap. Okay, so make sure the balloon is on flat and tight, and we're going to use the rubber band to hold it in place. So get your rubber band, put it over the top. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Our balloon is on nice and tight. There don't seem to be any gaps in the balloon. So what we've essentially done is we've trapped a certain amount of air in this jar, and that's what we want. So the next thing we want to do is take the straw and put it about halfway across the balloon and tape it down. So now we have our straw taped down about halfway across the balloon. This straw is going to act as our lever. It's going to tell us whether the pressure rises or falls. But right now, the straw is too long. So what we want to do is cut it off with the scissors, and it's good to make a little point to make measurements more accurate. So just have a couple inches off the end, and I think that looks good. And all we need to do now is give ourselves a point of reference, which is what the paper is for. So grab your paper, and I want you to tape it behind the straw. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. I've taped the paper behind the straw to give us a way to make measurements. You can see that I've put several pieces of tape here, which is important because if the tape doesn't stick and the paper moves, that's going to throw off your measurements. You can see that I've made some marks on the paper. There's one for approximately 0, there's one for 1, 2, 3, and then -1, 2, and 3. And we want these marks because a barometer works kind of like a scale. So we've trapped a certain amount of air in here, so if pressure increases outside, it's going to push down the balloon and raise the lever to give us a higher reading on our barometer. If the pressure outside decreases, it's going to allow the air inside to push out more, so it's going to push our readings down. The really interesting thing about a barometer is that changes in pressure can tell you something about the future weather. If pressure decreases, that often means that clouds or rain or stormy weather is on the way. If pressure increases, often clear weather is on the way. It's not perfect, but it gives you a good indication of what weather you might expect in the future. If you're having a hard time getting the paper to stick well, one other thing that you can use is a cereal box. So I'm going to take this off and I'm going to show you that instead. So all you have to do is cut off one side of a cereal box, maybe add some tape to make sure it's secure, and place your barometer inside. You can see I've made a few marks with a 0, some positive numbers, and some negative numbers, so we can measure how the straw moves. So what can you do with your barometer? Well, take some measurements over the course of a few days or a few weeks. I've started making some measurements here. So right now, this barometer looks like it's pointing around 0, maybe slightly above 0, so I'm going to record it as 0.2. So you can see my observations here. I have the date and the time, my pressure reading of 0.2, and the pressure reading from the local airport, which I found on weather.gov. I also observed the conditions outside, which are clear and sunny. As you make observations over the course of a few days or a week, check out how the weather outside matches up with your pressure reading from your barometer. Sometimes, if you see the pressure decrease, that means that you could get rain or clouds or storms in the near future. If you see the pressure start to rise, that means you could get clear and sunny weather. So that's how you make a barometer from things around the house. So take some observations and see what you find. Thanks for joining me, and have fun.